Hello. Right here. You're first. Congratulations. Glacier. You're not first. Congratulations. Happy lurking. Heading to the gym. Instant gnocchi. That's the topic of the day. What do I mean by instant gnocchi? What I pretty much mean is instant potatoes for the gnocchi. But that should pretty much make it just real fast. And we've learned in the past by making gnocchi that overcooked potatoes, they're really soft, make better gnocchi. And the instant stuff is just the mashiest mashed potatoes that ever mashed a potato. So that should make for some real easy gnocchi. So it'll be a test run. It'll be way easier to do this than to boil and peel and such your own potatoes. Should have looked what else is in these besides potatoes. Potatoes, they're not even salted. There are preservatives in it. There is sodium in it, but as a preservative, not actually any added salt. So, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. Hi, everyone. How's it going? Get in here. Welcome in. Still got this. I'm got a plan of what I want to put here to make this not quite so blindingly white. But I've got to figure out how to mount it on the side of the fridge. It's a little bit too heavy for my standard fridge magnets. So I'm going to have to go hunting for some little bit stronger magnets to hold that up. But I do have a plan to make this not quite so glaringly white. And otherwise, I don't think there's not much to report since last time. The dishes all got caught up. Oh, I have a new pot, which we're going to use today, so I'll point that out later. And yeah, not much else. Typical like odds and ends. You had some instant mashed potatoes that came with hot sauce. Instant mashed potatoes that came with hot sauce. Like you bought hot sauce and it came with mashed potatoes? Or you bought mashed potatoes that had hot sauce? Because if it's the first way, then I'm confused as to why they're packaging mashed potatoes with hot sauce. Okay, that makes more sense. The way I read it the first time was like, you bought hot sauce and it came with a side of mashed potatoes. It just, which would be weird. Which would be weird. Let's see. I need a kettle. A kettle. Yeah, I find instant mashed potatoes to be very bland, but I think that's the point, largely. They're just meant to be a cheap, easy, fast way to get a starch base for people who don't know how to cook. Because you could do a very similar thing with other cheaper starches. But for gnocchi, I don't know that there's a way to get like prepped potatoes quite as efficiently. I'm in a little bit of a wander around mood today, so we'll see what happens with me getting off track. Hopefully, there won't be much of me getting off track. Kettle of water. There'll be more water there than I need even filling it to the minimum. So I'm just going to take the extra water and throw it in the pot that we'll boil it in later. So, yeah. And I did pull up a reference recipe. So this isn't like I'm experimenting with this for the first time. I was recommended this, and I did a little bit of research for proportions. I was recommended to give this a try, and then did some research for proportions. That one. That one. Although the instructions here would result in scrambled eggs, so we're going to modify a few things from Taste of Home. Taste of Home. We're going to modify a few things. As I showed off a second ago, I've got Betty Crocker brand mashed potatoes because they come in a big box. And boy, do they literally just come in a big box. There's not even any plastic wrap in there. I guess I'm going to transfer them into a different container now that I've opened it. But it's 1 cup of flaked mashed potato. Oh, it looks like you're meant to have a little perforation. You're meant to like do a flap on the side. I'm going to go ahead and just transfer that into a different airtight container. One of these guys. Perhaps 2 of these guys, because it looks like looks like I'm making a mess. But definitely 2 of these guys. That's fine. I've got 2 of these guys. That's another thing I get at the thrift stores. I don't show off very often, but these OXO like button lid containers, you'll find these every once in a while in good shape. You'll find them frequently in bad shape. You'll find them every once in a while in good shape for just ridiculously cheap prices. And they're excellent for just storing stuff. Like extra potato flakes that I can't just store in a box, which probably shouldn't have been storing in that box anyways. Stick them over in the corner here with my rice. My corner of random starches. Okay. Those are just bits of potato. I am boiling the water right away because I know this is going to have to cool down because bizarrely the instructions that Taste of Home says is just add boiling water to this and then immediately add all the rest of the ingredients, including the egg. And throwing an egg into it while it's boiling hot will just result you with scrambled eggs, which, well, I just want to stick things in boxes. Hi, Wolf. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Well, our water's boiled, so it's not scald by hand. 1 cup water. Mix. Oh my God, are they mowing the lawn again? What is wrong with those people? There's not even anyone living there right now. They mow the lawn once a week. They're crazy. They're insane. How's it going, Wolf? What's up today? The vacant house next door is once again mowing their lawn, just as I'm getting going. Oh, this is smooth mashed potato. Wow-wee. What the hell is wrong with you people? I'm going to add a little bit of extra water. I think this is actually a little bit dry because we do need enough moisture to take up the flour that we're adding after this. So I want it to be a little bit of a softer mash. Okay. Now that can sit and not be boiling hot for when I add the egg. Also, they've been doing it on every Monday lately. I don't know why that started happening. That didn't used to be a thing. Bob, hi. You've been having a lazy day. Sometimes a lazy day is just what you need. Like I said, I'm putting the rest of this already boiling water into the pot. Push that to the side. We need un egg. Come on, there we go. An egg. Beaten. An egg beaten. Pinch of salt. Boiling water, egg, flour, and seasonings. You don't season gnocchi. Just salt. Just salt. Seasoning comes from the sauce. You've never had instant salmon before? I've also never had instant salmon. I have had canned salmon. What if you're not having it with a sauce? I suppose if you're having gnocchi with no sauce, then you probably don't want flavor anyways. Just gonna throw that out there. That's still pretty hot. The flour tower needs to be handy. Salmon pie? Wolf, you are confusing me. Wolf, I don't know what to say to salmon pie. I've had tuna pie, but salmon? Madness. Using a spatula to scrape off another spatula. We've never had tuna pie? Madness. Let's get some water going. Possibly, but also possibly that they're not similar at all. Because I can, off the top of my head, think of multiple radically different ways to make fish pies. Okay, I don't need to boil. Do I need to boil that just yet? Probably not. Salmon instead of lamb or beef in a shepherd's pie. Oh my god. That is not one I had considered. I am adding the egg because I don't think it's hot enough to scramble it. What are you? I don't know. Well, this is why we have two or multiple, I only have two, but multiple sets of cup measures. Starting with a cup. So in this case, at the moment, my recipe is 1 part instant mashed potato flakes, 1 part water, and 1 part flour, and 1 egg. If this works with just a 1-to-1-to-1 perfect across-the-board ratio, I'll be surprised. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wolf, you come in here. You come in here and start talking like that. To Ryuya, our first. Like you own the place. Madness. Madness. I could see a fish pie being structured like that. Oh, this is a dry dough. I think Taste of Home's got its proportions dumb. I think Taste of Home's madness. Madness! This stuff is, it might hydrate. It's still quite warm. But if I add the amount of flour that they request, which is 50% again what I added, there's no way it would form a soft, pillowy dough. Gnocchi's meant to be soft and pillowy. you shouldn't need to knead it together very much, which we're currently doing. You should only need to knead it together a little bit. But this is not going to hydrate as is. And I even added extra water. I also feel like you should have added, you could have just added the flour and potatoes right at the start and let them all hydrate together. I'm not sure why we didn't do that. I'm following directions that I don't trust. What do you think? More water? Or do we attempt to get it to just hydrate by kneading? We're going to try to get it to hydrate by kneading, because I can't take water out. It's actually getting a little bit, well, it's coming. Okay, I was being paranoid. I apologize, Taste of Home. But also, I don't trust you. I apologize, Wolf. I've called you mad multiple times in the past 10 minutes or so. Madness. So what's everybody doing today? What's for dinner? Okay, well, it's coming. I guess the potatoes give up their moisture more slowly than just water. Because now it's looking like a nice sort of hydrated dough. Getting a little bit of stickage on the table surface, so let's well, all of you who said don't add water, just knead it and it'll work out, you were the ones who were correct. Oh yeah, it's actually picking up all that extra flour. Where's my bench? Where's my bench scraper? Where's my bench scraper? Yeah, it's probably is the right amount of flour. Interesting. I was ready to throw Taste of Home under the bus. They've proven me wrong. Because that is pretty much what I look for in a gnocchi dough. So yeah, dang. Oh, I'm gonna need the flour. Almost put the flour tower away, but I need the flour because we need to roll these guys out. Okay, okay, well, color me impressed. And then actually making them into gnocchis is as simple as rolling out the snake. Try to make it a little more even than I did there. I should be putting the snakes at the top, not the bottom. Don't press very hard. The stuff is pillowy soft. Just barely press down as you roll and it'll stretch along. But what do we add for time? Just, I don't have my thing up. Half an hour from the word go plus distractions. It's probably about as instant as gnocchi's going to get, unless you buy pre-made ones. So, concept proven? And with less cleanup too. Because that's all the cleanup I've got, plus the plus the pot to cook them in. Now we're making something besides this, but well, I guess I'll start boiling that water. We might end up with a short one today, because that was real quick. Flemish, you're not first. Congratulations, and hello. How's it going? Okay, so we need to use leftover lobster stock because it's not going to keep very much longer because it's already been a week. Liz, you're also not first. Hello and welcome in. How you guys doing? Let's see. Lobster stock. I got a piece of salmon. Piece of salmon. One of these guys is in shrink wrap. It was in discount. This one's actually very recent though, so it hasn't been in there very long, so it should be in good shape. How's the finger? The finger. You probably can't see it quite well because of the shadow. There's a definite sort of crease, but the cut has sealed up. We're good to go, I think. Liz has store brand white cheddar cheese crackers. Sounds good to me. I've also got the lobster butter still, and I think a lobster butter based sauce is what's called for here. Because these lobstery leftovers are, I absolutely can't let them go to waste. I've used all the lobster cheese stuff to make that mac and cheese. Picture it in the Discord, which I can link if you're not there. But all you guys are there, right? All y'all. But I've still got the lobster butter, and I've still got the lobster stock. And the butter, I think, has the biggest risk of not keeping. The stock, I can freeze any that we don't use today. Bookwoman, you're not first. Congratulations. Also, hi, welcome. Boiling some water. Salt our boiling water. So I don't want to burn our lobster butter off the front end of this. So I think I'm going to use the lobster butter as a finishing sauce, or a finishing butter in the sauce. So we'll start it out with some olive oil. And by some, I mean a bunch of olive. Oh, we need. Okay. Now I actually got to prep ingredient. We got to cook. We actually got to cook. I will just keep these guys up here until we need them. Salmon again. I found some more salmon in the bargain bin. I'm like, sure thing. Salmon. But also, I thought that the salmon would go well with our lobster leftover accoutrement. Where's my scraper? My other thought was that I would do the lobster accoutrement with some beef short ribs. I have some frozen beef short ribs that I also found in the bargain bin. Which could have been good, but I've already committed to the salmon at this point. So we're doing salmon. I have, per suggestion, done instant mashed potato gnocchis, and dang if they didn't work just great. We haven't actually tasted them yet, but they worked very well in terms of turning them into the gnocchi ropes. Scraps bowl here. Also useful for making potato bread. Arguably, according to Flemish at least, the best bread. Arguably. There we go. That's the mash I'm looking for. Yeah, it makes sense for things that want like an overcooked mashed potato, because that's what instant mashed potatoes really are. They're overcooked so that they can be turned into a paste, so that they can be dried into the flakes that you get out of the container. So it makes sense for things that want just the potatoes to be starchified. Liz counters with sourdough is best bread. Jovial counters with baguette is best bread. So, you know, y'all wrong. Mish chimes in with garlic bread. I would argue garlic bread is a dish rather than a variety of bread. You know. Ooh, garlic naan. I think unless you're baking the garlic into the bread, the garlic is a topping. You can, but that's not typically what garlic bread is. It's not what people think of when you say garlic bread. We have a teeny tiny shallot. Oops. And apparently a little bit of a dull knife. Knife needs a touch-up. Bookwoman does not enjoy Texas toast. Duly noted. Wolf counters with focaccia. Focaccia is good. And also, if you put garlic on your focaccia, that I think would qualify for Misha's garlic bread. Because in that case, you do cook. You do bake the garlic into the focaccia. Okay, our water is vigorously boiling back there. You can't see it because that pot is tall. I'm going to throw our shallots into our pan. Which is actually off right now, so the shallots are just going to sit there. Let's raise the view a little bit. But also slide you back over to me. Grab one of our gnocchi ropes. and get to cutting. I don't usually put the little ridged lines in my gnocchis. I just cut them into little pillows. And then I grab each one and pull it away because the cut ends will want to stick because they don't have the flour coating on them. And that's essentially the gnocchi. I like the little pillows. And then you grab them, you take them over there, and you dunk them in. You take the kids to the pool and you dunk them in. Wolf, you're a menace. An absolute menace. The beautiful thing about gnocchi is they float when they're done, at least proper ones. We will assume that these, let's get a little bit less vigorous on that boil so that I can see slightly better in there. But we will assume that these will also float when they're done. And also, you can freeze the gnocchis. That's one of my favorite things about them is once you've got them cut out like that, put them on a tray, put the tray in the freezer. Once they're rock solid, you can put them in a bag, keep them in the freezer, and you can boil them directly from frozen. And again, there's no timing required. You just wait for them to float. And when they're float, they're done. In this case, I probably don't need... I'm going to use 2 of the ropes to make a nice big plate. But I think for like a modest serving, each one of these ropes would be a serving for 1 person. So for like a side dish, and they are floating up towards me. I'm going to cut another rope. And yeah, they're definitely floating. And then we just scoop them out with a slotted spoon or a spider. And do it again with more. I recommend cutting them up before freezing them, but you can freeze the ropes. Ow. That caught my hand with boiling water. And I don't know about you, but I don't like my hands getting boiled. Okay, let's get the heat on our shallot, and I am going to take this opportunity to also add a little bit of anchovy, which I did pronounce weird just now. It is, but it's harder to freeze them after you cut them up because you need to lay them out so they're not touching each other because they will want to stick once they're cut. anchovy paste. So you need at least enough room to sort of space them out on the tray, and that means your freezer needs to be big enough for that tray, which this freezer is for like the first time ever. I've struggled in the past to freeze things for recipes because my freezer was so cramped before. Apart from the baking sheet, place it in the oven flat for an hour and then freeze them. Just to let the surfaces dry out a little bit. That could work. Because yeah, the issue is that the after you've cut them, the cut surfaces are sticky and want to cling together. Although this particular recipe seems a little bit less wet than the ones I've done in the past. Okay. Put them in the oven flat for an hour. The only thing that could accomplish would be drying them out. Putting them flat, freezer for an hour. Yes. Once they're hard, just throw them in a bag. You knew what you meant. I was willing to honestly give consideration to the alternative being the oven and what that could entail. I need the nylon board. While our shallots are getting started, we got to get that guy out of his package. We've also got to scoop out our cooked floating gnocchis. What is the singular of a gnocchi? Is it gnocco or is it gnocchi? Is it like raviolo? If you freeze the robes, you have to thaw them. If they're cut, you just have to toss them in the water. I don't know how hard they freeze. You might be able to cut them while they're frozen, but yeah, if they are already cut, then all you have to do is chuck them in the boiling water and they go. Which again is one of the reasons I love doing gnocchi, because of you can just freeze them for later and then they cook exactly the same from frozen. There's not a lot of things that cook exactly the same, no difference in instructions, going from frozen versus fresh. But gnocchi are one of those things. Piece of fish. Pizza fish. It is gnocco. Or are you just saying that? Be honest with me. Okay, everyone agrees. It is, in fact, gnocco. I still feel like I want to call them gnocchis. Oop, there's a bone. I think it's just the one. I think it's just the one, but I don't like a bone. We're going to attempt to do that nice clean cut I did last time. Oop. We got partway there and then it started to pull. But maybe I can pull the remainder. Well, we lost a little bit. Okay, I'm going to come back to this because I'm burning on the other side. I have burnt my shallot. I just smelt it. Bad news. We burned the shallots. Just a little bit, but we definitely burned the shallots. Garlic in. That's okay, that's okay. We didn't burn them. We didn't burn nothing. We caramelized them, right? Yeah. Richly colored shallot. That's what that is. I need a little bit of flour. I forgot that I needed a little bit of flour for this. My garlic has gone fragrant. I put the flour tower away, knowing full well that I was going to need flour here. Okay, that. I also need a little bit of a whitish wine. Temperature down, temperature down. That has, of course, thickened quite heavily, but we're going to cook it a little bit just to get some of the alcohol out of it. Should have done that first. And then there's this part. Homemade lobster stock. We need to scrape the bottom. Homemade lobster stock. Heat back up. Whisk. To get our roux incorporating. It's a little lumpy. It's a little lumpy. I might have done things that were in the wrong order and made it a little bit lumpy. But we'll see as it reduces now, because that's the next step. We need to reduce this back. reduce that back down to where it was. We need to finish cutting our salmon. I want it to be in approximately gnocchi-sized pieces. And it's likely going to flake apart a little bit, so I'm not worried about it staying in nice gnocchi-sized pieces, but we'll give it the best chance. The bit where the bones were, where they really kind of shredded it up to get the bones out, that one's going to have a little bit of a hard time staying together. And the flap. So wait, I missed it. Somebody said, Bookwoman was saying earlier about dinner. Oh, I don't want to deal with this little flap. I don't want to deal with that little flap of skin. I have no pan to fry it in. I get a fresh pan dirty in order to cook it. I am going to compost it instead. I know, blasphemy, but that's what happened. It's in there now. It's in there with the coffee grounds now. Oop, and that's boiling. We don't need that to vigorously boil. Okay, actually the lumps have incorporated. What we're seeing floating around are just bits of shallot and garlic, which is fine. We'll give that a taste. See what we're working with before we add the fish. It needs salt, because, of course, my lobster stock was unsalted lobster stock. So if you're using store-bought lobster stock, maybe don't add the salt. Maybe you don't need the salt. Maybe it's salty enough. Maybe calm down on the salt a little bit. I don't know, I'm feeling spicy today. You know, sometimes you get that like rascally feeling. You rascal. Where did I put that spoon? That might have been slightly too much salt, actually. So definitely no more salt-bearing ingredients. We've got a little bit too much salt, then we should add to it a little bit of acid. Help it help it chill out a little bit. Quiet, you. You shall not criticize the regime or point out its foolish actions to it. I turned it down too much. I want to split the difference between those two temperatures. I want it to bubble consistently, but slowly. I'm looking for a simmer. It's gonna need something green to, like, you know, make it pop visually. And we want it to bubble a little bit. It's gonna be garden greens, so it's probably gonna be a topping. It might be as simple as some parsley. Beep, beep, beep. Parsley, basil, scallions. Parsley, basil, scallions. Those are the things I've got ready to go. I don't think sage is appropriate here. Don't think sage would be appropriate here. Parsley is a classic finisher, top finisher. Oh, chives. We'll also still have to add our lobster butter. I probably should have waited a little bit longer before adding the fish, but too late now. I might, in fact I am, going to take the fish out once it's cooked so that I can add it back and make sure that I don't overcook it. It can infuse its fishy goodness into the sauce without being overcooked, and then I can fish it out. You got it. You get it. Fish it out, set it aside, and we can combine all the elements at the end, which is a type of cooking I don't often do, but honestly should do more often. You don't have to cook everything all. You shall not criticize the regime's jokes. Because we're not going for a soup, so I probably added it a little bit early. And rather than cook it to death, we will just take it out. Reduce this. Take it out, reduce this a bit. Stop overshooting my temperature. Because we want to reduce this without, like, burning it any more than it already is. I'm also tempted to add a splash of cream to it to make it more of a white sauce. It's too late to do like a milk sauce, but I think a little bit of cream in there might be good. That'll also help it to thicken, provided I add it later when it's a little bit thicker. If there's too much water, the water will thin out the cream before the cream can thicken the water, if that makes any sense. I'm going to grab some herbs to do toppings with. Herb. It's blooming like crazy. There's mint out here too. Parsley. Reducing cream sounds like a bad idea. I don't know what happens if you actually reduce cream. I think you end up with powdered milk, right? Taste it as well. Taste your food. It's not exactly what I was thinking. What does it need? It needs... What does it need? What does it need? It's like a mild... Just like a mild fish flavor. It needs... What does it need? It needs something. It needs something, and I'm not sure what. Some butter will help it. So it's going to become fattier as I add the butter, so I don't need to add any more fat at this point. It's also going to amp up the lobster flavor. Doesn't need any more salt, and if it did, I could add a little pinch of salt at the end, but I don't think it needs any more salt. I think maybe more lemon. I think we're fighting with it being low acidity, and it's making it taste kind of flat. Fish sauce. Fish sauce is more salt. You know, you're right. Black pepper is probably one of the things that dropping stuff is probably one of the things it needs. Give it a little bit of a bite. A big old pep. Oh, it's thickening up too. Fresh herbs are going to help it as well. I grabbed some parsley, but I don't want to throw them in now. I'd rather them be a little bit fresher toward the end. think we're getting close to our target. Now it tastes a lot like black pepper. This grinder I found, once again at the thrift store. I showed it off once before, which is why I didn't mention it this time. It's a coffee grinder. It's meant to be a coffee grinder. And I got it with the idea of using it for spices. And the first time I used it, I did it with like mixed spices, so some fennel and some cumin and some like bunch of spices, because I didn't want to put those in my regular pepper grinder. But you know, it's just kind of good for doing a larger quantity in sort of a coarse grind. Cinnamon and nutmeg are not actually bad suggestions. If we had gone the beef route instead of the salmon route, I likely would be including cinnamon. Okay, that stuff has gotten thick. Pumpkin spice season's coming up, which means we're going to be getting into some strong flavors and some dark meats. I'm adding a little cream. And I'm adding back our fish because we've thickened. And I'm adding our gnocchis. Get everybody swimming around in our sauce. You like apple pie spice better. Explain the difference. In your own words. Those aren't your own words. It sounds like copy pasta. Oop. We got a friend. We made a friend. Look. 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 It's one of those caterpillars that pretends to be a bird poop. He's pretending to be a bird poop on my parsley. He's cute. Look at him. Look at him pretend. I'm going to put him back outside. He can live in my garden still, because that's where he wants to live. What a cute little friend. I think he's eating my parsley. I shall name him Sir Poopkins. Dude didn't know. Yeah, dude didn't know how close he was to getting cooked, getting his goose cooked. I sometimes get real bird poops on the herbs, but it rained, and there's not as many birds around right now because they're migrating out. Bucket. Okay. Back over here, temperature down. Make sure we're not sticking. We're 100% sticking. We are 100% sticking at the bottom. So temperature down. We're going downtown. We're running around. I mean, I don't know the other lyrics to that song. Okay, we're only sticking a little bit because I lost track. We weren't on mega hot. But if it's sticking, that also means that our sauce is thickened to the point where it can't resist the sticking, which suggests we're just about done. I call it sparsely. I don't know what kind of bug that little worm turns into. I assume it's a moth of some kind, but he was very cute. Ryu's got the lyrics to a song. I don't know if it's the lyrics to the song I was thinking of, because I don't know the lyrics to the song I was thinking of. This. We're going to give it another taste. Ooh, very thick. Very thick. We have thicked up. I don't know the name of the song I was thinking of. I'm terrible with songs. Lobster butter. But in my head, it's a male vocalist, so I don't think that's right. Okay, yeah, now we're not sticking because our temperature's down. And our lobster butter is melting in. We're mounting our sauce. We're adding little red, delicious lobster babies. I think we've got a dinner. I think we've done it. Hey chat. Hey chat. I never call you guys chat. I just call you guys you guys. Hey you guys. I think it's dinner. A little bit of a shorter one than last time, but last time was a bit of a crazy nonsense, so I'm not opposed to doing a little bit of a shorter one than last time. Unless I want a different plate, I think the white one, because this has become sort of a dark brown base, will make the best visual. I'm loving the little red dots in it now. It's not Sinatra. I know Sinatra's voice, and that is definitely not the song I'm thinking of. It's like a 90s song. I could make a dessert. I don't. I've had terrible luck making desserts when I start them at this stage, after the fact. Typically, if I make a dessert, I want to start the dessert before the dinner, because desserts always take way longer. Because I'm fussy, and I make weird desserts. And I'm a terrible baker. You'll notice we don't bake stuff around here. Ice cream, 5 seconds. Fair enough. We could make dessert. Done. Sorry. Done. Just tearing my parsley over the top. I think I want to plate a little bit more. It looks uneven on this side. I mean, I have no idea if the song is named Downtown. I know the lyric that I remember, the one lyric that I remember is, "We're going downtown." That's pistachio ice cream. So, it's green. Sicilian pistachio. I got it for $4, discounted to $4, so it's probably some premium price thing. It's not my favorite. I'm not going to say it's my favorite. If it's discounted to $4, I don't think I would be buying it at full price. So there's that. And we didn't add any cheese to this because I don't think it would go with these flavors. The ice cream back in the freezer. There. What do you think? Plate of gnocchis. This was mostly just a testing out instant taters in the gnocchis, and I can say that is a resounding success. I'll cut those up and freeze them in a minute, or probably after the fact. And then use up some of our lobster extras. You guys are trying to pick my stupid music brain to figure out what this is. Me, the stupidest music brain of all. Okay, we still got lobster butter. I will have to think of something else fun to do with the rest of that. But it'd be a good, like a steak topper or something. Let's go take a picture of this. Oh, there's the phone. The phone moon. Oop, I'm bringing the phone back and not the food. Let's give it a taste-a-roo. see if we, how badly we screwed this up. I mean, the main thing is I need to see how well these gnocchis came out. So that's the first thing we're going to try. Tender, slightly chewy, but like tender, pillowy. Mmm. Mmm. Man, that's just really good. Man, that's real good. It's savory. It's quite peppery, but not like, at least not to my palate, not overwhelming. But it's got a good, like, good peppery bite. The gnocchis came out very nice. They're maybe a little bit firmer than my best gnocchis, but for ones based on instant potatoes, they are well past acceptable, well above acceptable. They're darn good. The salmon was, you know, grocery store frozen salmon. So the flavor there is not very intense, but that's fine because the flavor of the sauce ended up not being very intense. The lobster stock on its own, not a very strongly flavored stock. The instant potatoes are the foundation of this meal, and they knocked a good chunk of the time off as well. I mean, I spent a lot of time making a sauce there, but the gnocchi are ready to go in 30 minutes from raw ingredients, which is very fast because normally you'd have to boil the water, cut the potatoes, peel the potatoes, cut the potatoes, boil the potatoes, let them cool, mash them. It skipped all that, went right to the assembling the gnocchi dough. With a kettle, it only takes, 2 minutes to boil some water. Makes it real lickety-split fast. If I wasn't chatting so much, I'd probably have a meal on the table in under 30 minutes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. Po, te, toes. So yeah, our experiment, the gnocchis, resounding success. This stuff, it's definitely not as mind-blowing as our last dish, which was all the lobster all the time. But we can't do that every time. It's not special if you eat like that all the time. This is like a nice, comforting. The sauce is very seafood flavored, but at the same time very smooth, very creamy, very peppery, savory. It's the things we put in it. Like, you can taste the things we put in it. They've just gone really well together. I can't really taste the lemon. I'm glad I didn't add too much more, because I wouldn't want a lemony. We'll be back. We'll be back to crazy nonsense. You just can't do crazy nonsense all the time. I haven't peaked. I didn't peak in high school. I didn't peak in high school. No, sometimes I just want a nice chill one, and sometimes we got to do an experiment, and the experiment isn't super flashy. But the experiment worked great. And I love fish, so any excuse to cook more fish. And I got away with not a massive cleanup, which is another thing that I need to be mindful of, because I've given myself some absolute disasters in the past, in the pastors. Thank you for the follow. I just saw it. I wasn't watching. I just saw it just now. I guess that's it. I don't have a lot to say. It tastes probably exactly how you think it tastes. Um, it's sort of got this nice, rich. I want to say it tastes brown, if that makes any sense. It tastes brown, but in a good way. I like the pieces of salmon being the same size as the gnocchis, so you get like. You were in middle school, you were tall, and then you stopped growing. You didn't even eat the ice. Fine. I got called out. Got called out on the. There, pistachio ice cream with boysenberry syrup. Exclusively for Flemish. Terrible. The worst. No, it's just pretty good. I don't hate the ice cream. It's just that if the discount price is $4, I don't think it's regular price, which would be probably close to double that, would be worth it for the taste. Anyways, let's wrap up. If I can eat my food while it is still hot / cold. Let's see who's on right now. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Of course, there's the usual suspects. 6:30. We're on early. You know who we haven't seen in a long time? LaFay. She hasn't been on Mondays very often. And I think Jen is wrapping up. Jen is wrapped up. So that tears it. LeFay, our former favorite streamer, still favorite streamer, former most common streamer. That's what I meant to say. Maria has gotten us hooked up with the raid messages. Thanks everybody for showing up, sticking around, hanging out, chatting, having dinner with me. I don't have anything more to say. I don't have anything more to say. I'm gonna try to get this taken care of before next time. We should do something with peppers and pears and plums and tomato. I've got vegetables. I've got fruit. I've got mostly fruit. We didn't use any fruit today. But yeah, I love seeing you guys. I love hanging out. I love good food. I could have put fruit in the ice cream. I could have. I absolutely could have, except the main fruit I have right now is bell peppers, which aren't exactly ice cream fruit. There's the countdown. I will see you guys next time. Take care. And thanks for all the fish.